we're gonna rule the world one
Mm-hmm.
day. Oh, it's so cool. So cool to be here today talking to William Daniel. William Daniel is the son of Blythe Daniel. She's a friend. I love her dearly, and so I'm so excited to talk to William. He comes from a long line of writers, right? I mean, it's incredible. You have your mom and your grandmother are authors, your uncle, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And now you, and then I just saw that your sister now also signed a book deal.
she did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I-
Her book is already on Amazon, which is
my
good.
God.
You can't pre-order it currently, but it does show it. So
That's so cool, William. And so you really had no way to escape from this. You were going to be a writer. I just have to say
mhm.
that. Yeah, I have one of my daughters, one of my oldest daughters. She is an excellent writer, and I keep telling her you need to write. So she's gonna watch your interview and maybe be inspired. So, well, I want to just introduce you first to my audience. William Daniel is his sixth grader. He loves the World War II history, so he calls himself a World War II enthusiast. You should be best friends with my husband. He loves World War. We have watched all documentaries that you can imagine. He is also a competitive gymnast, level 5, almost gymnast now. He builds model airplanes and he wants to be a pilot someday. And he has an older sister, Maris. Is it Maris that just is publishing a book? Or is it your
Maris, she's not actually interested in writing.
Oh,
But
so it's your twin sister,
my twin sister, yes.
Kaylin. She's the one. Did I
Mhm.
pronounce her name correctly?
Yes, Kaylin.
Kaylin. And and you are younger by 4 minutes.
Correct. Yes.
You are the baby.
Pretty much. But
You
that
are
title goes to our dog.
I hear you. I have two dogs, and the title does go to them as well. So I understand that. And he enjoys, as you guys can imagine, he enjoys making people laugh. His book is called You Are Joking Me, and it is a book of jokes for kids. I have to say this to you, William. I was reading through your jokes and I was like, did you really came up with them yourself?
I did. I came up with all of them. Some of them you may have heard before, but as you may expect, there's only so many jokes that can go around. But yes, most of
Okay.
them, from what I've heard from people, they've never heard them before.
That is so cool. Well, let me ask you, how did you come up with the idea of writing a book?
Well, you see, it started in quarantine. In COVID times, early COVID times, I would just sit there and think of jokes because previously in first and second grade, I would think of jokes and then I would tell them to people. And although they aren't as good as they are now, I loved it and I loved making people laugh, like you said. It was a joy to me. So quarantine came around, we were all sitting at home, bored. And my mom's like, I think you have what it takes to become an author. And so what she did is she, created a book proposal as my agent, and she sent it off. And several publishers um, asked if I could be one of their authors. I'm sorry, which I am really, really grateful for. And I realize that it's not every day that you know publishers will go after you. Um,
No.
but of course, we
Especially as
landed.
it,
Yeah, we landed on Ravel, and from there, I've just been writing jokes and doing marketing. So
that is so incredible. And you are right. I'm a published author, and it is not easy to get published. It's very, many people write books, right? And your mom, she's a literary agent, and she can tell you that. I mean, even if you have a great idea for a book, that doesn't mean it's going to pick up the idea, the interest of a publisher. And why do you think that your book became like so many publishers became interested in it? Why do you think the market is like needed your book?
You see, publishers are looking for something unique. If they already have a book like that, then they're gonna say, yeah, no. Although the thing with Ravel is that they were looking for another line of joke books after Rob Elliott's. And so when they saw my book proposal, and they immediately thought, okay, it's being written by a kid. This is something that's good for marketing because
Mhm.
people are going to want to read a book, written by a kid. And so I think just me being unique and publishing at such a young age is how so many or how quite a few publishers kind of, wanted me.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that every parent out there, one of the things that you want to instill in your child the desire to read. So I know I have two girls, they are grown now, but I remember when they were little, I was always looking for good books because we know, and because you have a love for reading, but a lot of kids don't have a love for reading. And reading is so important, right? As it makes your vocabulary grow, you become more mature, more ready for life as you grow up. And so to have a book that you can pick up at a bookstore for your child that is not only going to make them like read something that they are going to enjoy, it's clean entertainment, which is not
Yes,
something that's very common, right? So
exactly.
we have a lot of jokes out there, but they a lot of inappropriate jokes, right? So
Mhm.
tell me a little bit about that, William, the importance that you see, because I'm sure that kids out there who they have jokes, but they are dirty jokes and stuff. So tell me how your book is being received by other kids that you know. And are they like relieved to see something that they can repeat even to their grandparents?
Hmm. Yeah, I notice a lot at my school, in seventh grade, that when other people are around me that tend to share um, inappropriate jokes, whenever they're around me, they know that I'm the author of a joke book. They tend to be quiet, if that makes sense. They know
Yes.
that I'm kind of the person who makes jokes here. And I'm, and they pretty much know that I do support clean humor and all that. But
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, so that's great. And I will tell you that I'm thankful for you, because like again, like I said, being the mom of, my kids are not as little anymore, but there's just so many things out there, and even young people that are putting out inappropriate things.
Of
And
course, yeah.
you made a hilarious book. It's very funny. I was reading through it, and but it's clean, and so any kid of any age can get in and read it. So just good job, and God bless you for
Oh,
it.
thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
Let me go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Because it is really hard to balance out uh clean clean I guess clean material and entertainment. And joke books are
Mhm.
one of those things that especially the clean joke books, those are the kinds that are entertaining. I remember when I was young, I think, I some fiction books and some story books like that, I didn't really like because they were plain out boring.
Yeah.
And that's a
Mhm.
problem that I see nowadays. And who knows? Maybe I will branch off into fiction. I have been
Mhm.
kind of thinking about it. And of course, I would need to research more fiction, because
Yeah.
after all, I do mostly enjoy nonfiction type
Yeah.
books, which you're joking me is part of joke books are um, nonfiction books. But yeah,
Right.
it supports clean humor, and it I think it engages kids and it provokes curiosity within words.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
so great. Well, I heard that one of the reasons why you have this great sense of humor is that your family, you guys like you are set out to always want a good laugh when you're together. And I can identify, I can relate to that because that's the same thing when I have two girls and when the four of us get together, we always making each other laugh. So tell me a little bit about how your family has influenced your, your funny bone.
Well, it's funny. Whenever I come up with a joke, the first person to laugh is normally my dad, and then they're followed by my sisters giving me the look, if that makes sense. They're, they kind of look at me, roll their eyes. You should hear me in the mornings when I'm making breakfast. They'll say something like, "Oh, Dad, can you pass me the butter?" And I'm like, "Oh, you better not do that." I'll just come up,
Oh my.
say random jokes like that, and it's pretty fun.
That is so cute. Well, so are you the type of guy that you wake up in the morning already like super ready for the day with a great sense of humor? Are you like that?
I'm kind of a mix of a night owl and a morning person. I kind of like staying up late, and then I like mornings. Although it sometimes does take me a little while to get out of bed. But yeah, once breakfast rolls around, I'm kind of up and at 'em.
I, well, then I'm gonna give you a little hint, which I'm sure your mom already did. Girls, they warm up a little slower in the morning. Sometimes which you probably already know. They like not quite ready. They're kind of in a mood in the morning when they first wake up.
Yeah, experienced that with my sisters.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, let's talk a little bit about kids at school. Bullying and loneliness is such an issue, right? And kids, and you are at that age, middle school. Middle school can be such a tough time, right? So, how can knowing a few jokes help some of these kids who are a little shyer make good friends?
It's a good question. I touch on this quite a bit in my, in general, but um no how I made friends, and I'm not the most social person. You would think I'm, an extrovert. I'm kind of the life of the party, sharing jokes, but most times you'll see me in school. I'll barely even talk to you. um
Yeah.
even at lunch, I'll be sitting with my friends, and I'll just kind of sit there and eat my lunch, and not talk much, and I'm fine with it. But how I make friends is with jokes. Sometimes, or how I strengthen friendships really, and is with jokes. And you can, and I know it's hard for shy people to, come go up to someone and tell a joke. But it does really lighten the mood between you. It kind of shows, hey, you're a fun person. But how I would start a friendship is by asking someone basic questions. For example, you ask, hey, are you in band or are you in choir? This is because, this is middle school. At my school,
Yeah.
you either pick to do band or choir and say, oh, like, oh, I'm in band. I'm like, okay, I'm in band too. And so from there, you can spark a conversation. Oh, what instrument do you play? Oh, I play tuba. Oh, okay, that's cool. I play saxophone. And you can kind of go back and forth. And then eventually that's when you go, oh, can I tell you a joke? And that's how you
Nice.
really kick it off. So
That's awesome. And so, if I am sure that some of my audience are going to show this interview to their children, and so here's a great idea, guys. Get William's book. You're gonna get some fresh jokes that nobody has told you, and then that's a great icebreaker, right? So for you to make a good a friend, or if you are in the midst of like a group of friends and you're kind of feeling awkward, hey guys, can I tell you this joke? And tell one of William's jokes. I think that's a great idea, William. You and I have that in common. I absolutely love making people laugh. which people that follow me, like on my ministry, they probably don't know this, but if they've ever um, heard me speak at a conference. I just love. I have also like a big funny bone, and it's I love, love making people laugh. It's one of my biggest joys because it's such a crazy world, right? There's so much hurt out there. So sometimes just to lighten up and say something funny or act funny, be
Exactly.
goofy, and not be afraid of being goofy, right?
Of
Isn't that
course. Yeah.
important for kids too?
Yeah, and I would say one of my accomplishments in making people laugh is doing stand-up comedy with the mayor of Colorado Springs. It
Oh,
was the mayor's Young Leader Awards, right? And for the first opening thing, they had me go. It was interesting. Um, work. I'm kind of over here, maybe doing a few interviews and stuff, and my publicist who lives in Michigan gets this email from the mayor's office, right, from Colorado, and he's like, hey, can Will come down to the comedy club, and can he share a few jokes. And so we're of course like, yeah, let's do it. That'll be fun. And of course I shared clean jokes with a bunch of people. And so, because I see it a lot in stand-up comedy, it's not clean whatsoever, and so
absolutely.
that
Uh-huh.
is probably one of my accomplishments, is sharing clean jokes at a comedy club. So
That is so, so cool.
thank you.
Well, you know what, one of the great things that inspired the name of my podcast is God-sized stories, and I'm always amazed of how God uses our gifts and our talents, our personalities to just point others to Jesus, point others to the Lord. And in your case, you are an inspiration to kids, and I'm sure that a lot of kids who sometimes are struggling, even deciding who am I, what's my purpose. So let me ask you, how do you encourage other kids to use their gifts and talents and to find out what they are best at?
That's a good question. I mainly encourage people, um, mainly my friends, because sometimes, and I do it very sneakily. A lot, sometimes, I spark a conversation with them and find out their interests, right? And from there, I'll start talking to them about their interests. And, as you talk more and more about it, this person's getting a thought into their head. Oh, okay, maybe I can do this with this and stuff. And I'll kind of, give them some ideas. Um, but even now, I encourage a lot of people to write, a lot of young people. In fact, let's see, not too long ago, I had a Zoom call with a fourth grade class, across the
Neat.
country from me. And it was just nice because the teacher was saying that, a few days later, these two girls who were friends started coming up with a story with each other. And even one kid that wasn't as nice to her was being nicer. So,
Oh,
I
how
have
neat.
that's I encourage a lot of people, and I realize that, and I try to even grow myself and my own talents. I still have a long way to go. So
Right. You're just beginning, right?
pretty
But
much, yes,
but
yeah.
it's so awesome that, I mean, you are young, but you not only already have something that is making a difference in the world, but you already have a good idea of what you want to do when you grow up, and that's wonderful. And I know that that has a lot to do with the wonderful family that God put you in, with the parents you have and grandparents and everything. Let me ask you, who is your biggest inspiration, William?
My biggest inspiration would definitely be my father and my grandfather. Like I said earlier, my father's probably the first to laugh at my jokes, because we kind of share the same humor.
Oh,
And even my grandfather, he loves joke telling. So
yeah,
we were actually there at my grandparents' house. It's north of Atlanta in
yeah.
Dalton.
I know Helen. They are close to
Yes,
me.
yes, yes. Helen
I'm in
McIntosh.
Eckworth.
Yes,
Yes,
she's
she's a
my
doll.
grandmother. She
Right.
co-authored a book with my mom, but
Uh-huh.
her husband, who is my her husband, my grandfather,
Granddad.
he has great humor as well. We love to share jokes with each other. Um, yeah.
It's awesome. Well, it is great that the two of the biggest male roles in your life, which is your dad and your
Mhm.
grandfather, that they are your biggest inspiration. So very neat that you can say that. Last question to you. I saw on your mom's social media this week that you came across your book at the airport in Atlanta.
I
How
did.
cool. And she said something that she always wanted to see that about her book. I have always wanted to see my book in one of those. How on earth did you get that, boy? I'm like, you are way ahead of us.
Yeah. It's pretty complicated. One of my mom's author friends works or is friends with the president of Choice Books, the people who
Okay.
supply airports. And
Yeah.
so we gave him a signed copy to give to the president. And of course, we come back a month later and, a few days ago, and we're going up the escalator and stuff, and we're kind of walking through concourse, and then we just decide, yeah, let's check a few of these bookshops, right, or these snack shops. And so we go in, and sure enough, on the little spinny rack, there it is, just on the top shelf. So
That is so cool. That was really what a great surprise, huh?
yeah, I'm so grateful, so grateful.
That's awesome. Well, tell me one of your favorite jokes.
Oh, okay. A lot of people ask me to tell jokes, and there's one that I mostly always go to. Why should you have 5 quarters instead of 5 pennies?
Mm, I don't know. I don't know.
It makes more sense.
Very good. It definitely makes more sense. Awesome. That's great. Well, uh, tell me, William, how can people connect with you and where can they purchase a copy of You Are Joking Me?
That's great. On my Facebook is the William Daniel, and my Instagram, the William Daniel author. And I've even branched out into YouTube as the William Daniel as well. Places that you can buy my book, anywhere that books are sold, whether that's Barnes and Noble, Walmart online store, Target online store, um, the Atlanta airport, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. That's
And
right.
yeah,
Awesome. Well, I will put all that information in my show notes to make sure that people can connect with you. And mom or dad, if you're listening to this podcast, make sure to get a copy of this great book for your kids, your grandkids, and just share this interview. It's an inspiration for young kids to know that yeah, it's never too early, right, for you to start doing something to make a difference in the world. So very proud of you, William, and it was such a blessing to get to meet you and meet another. I'm kind of becoming a big fan of your entire family. I've already met, of course, your mom, your grandmother, now you. So I hope to end up interviewing everybody. Well, good. God bless you, and thank you so much for taking the time and talking to me today.
yes, you too. Thank you.
All right. Bye, honey. See ya.
All right, goodbye.